of billboards around the airport area, and we went around to remove all those that were held up all through the airport area. And so we were surprised that on Saturday,
but FAAN went around to remove all the billboards.
All the billboards around all the airport area, right from the GAT to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport.
But how come some reports quoted you as saying that Bi-Courtney came there with thugs?
No, that I'm giving you the history 2 weeks ago.
Okay,
so we were surprised on Saturday to wake up.
Let's take, sorry for butting in, but let's set the scene with this report, in addition to what you've said. So we'll just add up to this and just take it from there so we don't get it lost on us.
The matter over the lawful owner of the 4-star hotel and the International Conference Center at the MM2 wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport may be under the spotlight of the court of law. But the tussle over the control of these properties is still on between the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria and the concessionaires Bi-Courtney Limited.
About 9 a.m. Saturday morning, a group of men from Bi-Courtney Limited, the concession agreement holders of the MM2 terminal, were seen mounting advert boards on this building. Some hours later, officials of the airport authority came to remove the adverts. Asked why the authority is removing the advert for a second time this month, this is what FAAN spokesman had to say.
Any form of advertisement usually comes through concessionaires. Now we've had problems with our concessionaires who we discovered collect money for advertisement. They place these advertisements and they do not remit to FAAN. So it was decided that before the gray areas are resolved, there should be no form of advertisement. And that is why FAAN mobilized 2 weeks ago to remove all forms of billboards around the airport area.
Efforts to reach an official of Bi-Courtney Limited was not successful, but its counsel, Mr. Kende Daudu, said the Federal Airport Authority is in breach of a court order.
Because as at 6th of June, as in when they were making that claim, there's a matter in court in respect of this same thing. Now, I do not know where how they would say how such thing will come about that you have a right to the place when there's an agreement that has not been terminated, and there's an extant court order restraining them from going around the premises.
As these allegations and counter-allegations continue, the question on the lips of many is how would such benefit the aviation industry? It will be recalled that the Federal Airport Authority on Friday announced that it has, through a federal high court in Ikeja, reclaimed the land in protracted dispute between it and AIC Limited, initially proposed for the construction of an hotel complex at the airport. Henry Ogunjimi, reporting for Channels Television News.
All right, many thanks, Henry. But that essentially touches on a lot of the background to what you're talking about. But you want to add to that?
Yes, I want to also say that, like the report stated, we woke up on a Saturday to our surprise that Bi-Courtney came back to start mounting the billboards. First, on the places where they were not authorized to, and secondly, on a building that does not even belong to them, because we had terminated that agreement long ago. And so we thought that resorting to self-help, especially in a civilized environment like we are, is rather unfortunate. And that was why we simply to restore the sanctity of the airport, and also so that other advertisers do not think that we are being preferential, decided to now remove those billboards in a very orderly manner, in spite of the fact that they invaded our facilities with talks to mount those billboards.
Well, about that thought, because they flatly denied that, because they said the cameras caught them when they were mounting those boards and they couldn't have come back with the talks to remove it. But that's a different kettle of fish entirely, which we'll come to. But when you talked about the agreement between FAAN and Bi-Courtney, and that you decided to take those things off, But there's a court judgment, we understand, on the 15th of November, which did say that if there's a dispute, you have to resort to ICRC, that's the dispute resolution body, that no group, either party, should not unilaterally take upon themselves that responsibility of deciding what happens. Is that the case?
Well, that is far from the case. I'm telling you about a company whose stock in trade is manipulating court processes. But we're happy that with the transformation going in the judiciary, since her Lordship, Justice Saluma Mukhtar, came on course, a lot of things have been happening. They've had the penchant of going round the back to secure all kinds of court judgments, which they misinterpret even to the public. But to put the issues in proper perspective, we entered into this agreement with Bi-Courtney in 2005, and they were to build and operate the hotel and conference center in 18 months. After 2 years, they could not. We gave them additional 2 years, 5 gave them additional 2 years, and now we're talking about almost 10 years of that property. So earlier last year, we terminated the contract because they were not able to live up to it. And simply that property returns to FAAN. Like it is said in law, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I have this favorite palace from the lawyers which says, qui quid plantentur, solo solo sedit, which means he who owns the land owns everything on it. So you cannot, at the end of the day, begin to lay claim on what does not belong to you in the first place. But we want to also be happy that the another land in contention, which belongs to AIC, Harrier, near the airport land, that was preserved for development of expansion of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, was also restored to FAAN just last week. And so we have already rolled out our plans to erect a 6-story, multi-story car park and an international hotel and other developments that will assist and grow the Murtala Mohammed Airport, which has remained stagnant for the past 30 years, in spite of the passenger growth and volume in terms of cargo.
All right, tell us, what is the process? Because you entered into an agreement, which is a controversial one, and there are several court judgments which Bi-Courtney has accused FAAN of flagrantly disobeying several court orders, including the one on the hotel, but we'll come to that again. What is the process of resolving a dispute as both parties have entered into, including that of the ICRC?
No, the process is going back to the courts, because the courts still have the constitutional right of coming when there are disputes between two parties. Secondly, there are agreements that are signed. I have a copy of it here that has to do with the concession and the responsibilities of all parties involved. And if you look at some of the other agreements here, clearly stated that the construction period of the hotel shall be 18 months. Now, if one party...
I'm talking about the process of resolving dispute. Could you read that to us? Do you have any of the clauses that talks about the process for resolving a dispute, such as this one?
The process of resolving the dispute is enshrined in the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, which has to do...
In your agreement,
in your agreement.
Come to, okay, so just in case we have a point of disagreement, how we will go about resolving it. Do you have that in
we have to, for arbitration. We can go for arbitration if it does not arbitration for us first, which was what we did with AIC. And at the end of the day, we are not satisfied with the judgment, and that was why we reapplied. We are talking about the growth.
Did you do the same with Bi-Courtney?
Yes, we did. And I don't want us to lose the fact that the growth, every day we go to the airport and we're appalled at what we see. Why? Because half the airport line has been balkanized among people who have friends in high places. And those are the issues we want to address.
Are you aware of this?
Trying to move into legality will take us away from the issues.
Just a minute.
Yes.
There's an agreement between FAAN and Bi-Courtney.
That's right.
And documents, pen was put to paper, documents were signed.
Yeah.
And if that is, they have to examine it and ensure that both parties stick to the agreement, because international community is watching what happens in this country. And
that's right.
Both parties should portray themselves as responsible members of this country. Are you aware of this Monday, the 15th day of November, this case before Honorable Justice Stephen Jonah Adder, and there was a judgment that was delivered?
Yes, I am aware.
You're aware of this one?
Yes.
Of which FAAN was the defendant?
Yes.
But it says here, with respect to resolving the dispute, which I did ask you, it talks about on page 13, because this was a judgment that was delivered, it says, two questions placed for determination here are intertwined. The sum of it is whether the defense